Hello and welcome. Hello and welcome to today's edition of Realities of Moment with Susie. I hope everybody has had a lovely week after the really weird week that we had last week. And the sunshine came out today, so that's got me in a good mood. Now, for today's show, we're going to be looking at the aftermath of the Woolwich killings. I think we done a show on it last week, and by the time I got home, there was so much information going around within those few hours that were spent in the studio. Now, to discuss this, I have two guests with me today, and thank you guys so much for coming. And first of all, I've got Edith Zoge. Edith is an accounting manager. Thank you so much for coming, Edith. And then I've also got Yemi Odetola, who was also with me last week. Thank you so much for coming, guys. Now, we're going to be discussing today, like I said, the aftermath of the Woolwich killing. But to get you in the mood, I'm going to offer you guys some drinks. Last week, I did give alcohol, which I apologise. I did offend some people. I got some messages telling me off. So no alcohol this week. All of them are soft drinks, alcohol-free. Edith, what would you like? I've got Schlur,
I'll take the
pure,
Schlur.
you'll take the Schlur. I got pure orange juice. Oh, you've got some in your cup already, so that's all right.
Yeah,
This week I won't shake it. Last week I shook it and it went all over me. Yummy, what would you like?
I will go with Schlur.
Yeah, you go with the Schlur as
Yes.
well. Okay. So nobody wants my pure orange juice. I actually didn't get concentrated on purpose. I thought I'd be posh.
You can donate that to charity.
I guess I will. Or to the production team, bless them.
Thank you, Dad.
You're welcome.
So thank you. Thank you so much, guys, for coming on the show today. Yemi, you were on the show with me last week, Friday. We discussed the Woolwich killing when I guess it was still a bit fresh. Fresh as in the sense that it had happened, 1.5 days or a short while. Now, what I want us to do this week is I would like us to have a look at it, look at the aftermath, because when I got home last week, I turned on the TV and the first thing I saw was BBC News, and one of the killer's friends was on BBC being interviewed. And I think he came up with a new revelation, and he said that the it's MI5, isn't it? Yeah, that the MI5 had tried to recruit Michael, the older of the killers, Michael. They tried to recruit him, so obviously he was within their radar for some point of time, which was something that we didn't know about. I think I fell asleep watching that, and then on Saturday morning I woke up, and when I woke up on Saturday morning, the next thing it was, he was actually arrested in the BBC office after he actually did that interview, which was, another development. And then I think his sister got arrested, and then some other people got arrested, and then you had the EDL, which is the English, what are they again?
English Defence League.
English Defence League, which are the people that kind of fight for their rights within Britain, and they had started marching the streets as well. And so all of a sudden, everything was blowing up around us, and different theories were coming from here or there. I think now that the dust has settled a bit, one of them has appeared in court, one hasn't, because I think he is still too sick to appear in court. I'm going to start with, should I start with Yemi, Edith? Yeah?
Yes.
I'm going to start with Yemi. Now, Yemi, what do you think about the aftermath? Now that, I'm not going to say the dust has settled, but now that things have kind of, the big explosion has happened and the dust is settling, what do you think of the whole situation at the moment?
Thank you, Susie. Thank you for bringing me back to this show.
No, thank you for coming.
Well, it is unfortunate, like I said last week,
Yeah.
that the incident that happened in Woolwich was very callous, and it was to be condemned.
Yeah, definitely.
We should not condone that in our community. What I take away last week was the comment that people made
Yeah.
on the show and off the show. And I felt that what we should be driving at today should be about the community cohesion, looking at what is the responsibility, what are we supposed to be doing that we are not doing, what are we doing wrongly now that we supposed to be correcting. I want us to focus on what are the things that we can do to make this war situation better. We cannot bring drummer Lee Rigby back, but we can build a better community to his own, in his memory.
Yeah.
And I think that is what the family of Lee Rigby have said when they commented on the EDF, English Defence League, proposed march.
Protest.
Yes. They've said that Lee is somebody who loves across racial lines. He
Yeah.
has friends across racial lines, so he would not like his name to be dragged in that kind of a scenario. And I kind of agree with that. The other point that I am also ruminating on is the comment from the family of one of the killers.
Yeah.
The comment says that they felt that this child or their own child has brought shame to them.
Yeah.
The situation is such that it is not only the family that shame has been brought upon. It is on entirely all Nigerian, because this child this man bears a Nigerian name, and so every Nigerian must feel ashamed of what this chap has done.
I guess it's not just about the name, is it? It's also about the fact that the media have always stipulated very firmly all the time that he is of Nigerian descent. And I think what capped it all, and you've just reminded me of that, was when I got home on Saturday, I saw the presenter Runke Phillips on a bridge in Nigeria, and I'm thinking, whoa, where are they going with this? This is going, deeper than it should even go. They've actually wasted money to fly Runke Phillips to Nigeria, Abuja, where the killer has never ever been in his life. That totally didn't make sense to me. But, I guess that is their way of connecting it to the Nigerian society. But no, thank you so much for that, Yemi. Can I just let Edith tell us her views on the aftermath of the whole situation, sad situation, should I say?
Well, it is a rather unfortunate situation, but it was never anything to do with race. It just happened to be a case of, the killers were black, the guy was a white guy. Unfortunately, he worked for the army. He happened to be walking down the wrong road at the wrong time, and he was chosen as a victim by rather demented people. So now to have the press, the white press, make it like, oh, yes, they're black, yes, they're Africans, yes, they're Nigerians, and they killed this person, so let's take it all the way to Nigeria so you can see where these vermins of society have come from.
Yeah.
It's actually provocative. It's a provocative act, because it's not really, the guy was trying to make a political statement, from what I understand.
In his views, yeah.
Yes, in his views. I mean, he's insane, but hey, everybody has the right to free speech, apparently. So he asked to be recorded. He told Cameron to get out of of Afghanistan,
Yeah.
and go and mind his own business.
But wait,
But-
Edith, I've got to stop you there.
Yeah.
I've got to stop you there.
Okay.
I hear what you say when you say everybody has the right to free speech.
Yes.
But when you have just ruthlessly and savagely and whatever negative word you can use to describe that situation, when you've just butchered someone down on the streets in front of innocent people, do you have the right to be heard? Doesn't that take away that right?
But you see, that's the thing about England, isn't it? Because we're Africans. We know that back home, the army would have jumped all over your body, pummeled you probably even before.
Army?
Yeah, or
The
even the
people.
people themselves, but
Exactly.
pummeled you even before they put you in the
They wouldn't
truck
even meet you
to
in
even
the
take
truck.
you to Kirikiri. That's if you make it.
You wouldn't even make it to the
in
truck if you are. They
in
wouldn't
okay
make it.
Africa. But what I take exception to is that basically, let's stick to the facts. This is what happened. This guy is a British subject. He was born here.
Raised here.
You see what I mean? He was born and raised here. Okay, so he grew up with white ideals. The white ideal is you don't slap your kid, you don't beat them when they don't listen to you too tough. You know, that's the white ideal, isn't it? Because if you hit them a bit too hard, you're abusing them, you're traumatizing them. So this guy actually is not one of ours. He just happens to look black. That's it. He just happens to look black. But he's actually a white person in a black skin. So he got demented in England. It is England's problem. It is not actually Africa's problem. Because back home, when your parents spot the signs of potential psychosis or being possessed or whatever, we just whip it out of you. It's just simple and short. We whip it out of you. And if it's beyond hope, we take you to a church, we have you exercise. Your parents can have a PhD, but that's just the way we are. We're very spiritual people. This guy now, the white media wants to say that because he's an Adeboale, is Africa's problem, is demented or whatever, but they're the ones who created care in the community. Okay, so they need to take responsibility for their own rubbish. Because at the end of the day, the guy did the crime here, is a British citizen here. All of a sudden, you want to disown him because you think that this crime is too appalling and a white person would have done it. But that's actually a lie. Because if we look at history by itself of what serial killers, white serial killers have done, they've done even more appalling things than these people have done, to be very honest. I mean, they have Myra Hindley still sitting in prison. They will never release her, even though some people would say to you, she's done her time. She paid for her crime. She needs to be rehabilitated into the community, so she needs to be set free from prison.
Oh God, Edith, I'm going to stop you there. I like that. I'm going to stop you there, honey. Wait, hold on a second. I mean, you are on a roll. And do you know? No. I actually take on board. I might not agree with everything you said.
Yes.
Yeah, I might not agree with everything you said, but I take on board a lot of what you said. But what I'm just going to say to all our viewers out there is, please remember, this is an interactive program. Would love to receive your calls to hear your views on the aftermath of the Woolwich killing. The number is at the bottom of the screen. And just in case you can't see the bottom of the screen, it's 0203 355 5526. Give us a ring and please tell us your views on the aftermath of the Woolwich killing. Thank you. Thank you for that, Edith. That was. Did you feel the energy? Did you feel the energy, the passion in what Edith was saying? And you know what? Like you said, we are in the UK here. Freedom of speech. Yeah. Yemi, yes.
Yes, I was just going to say that I wonder what the BBC or whoever sends the news reporter to Nigeria were looking for.
Well, this is what's baffled me, because I was actually lying down. I was actually lying down, and I woke up and I saw Ronke Phillips, and I looked behind us and I thought, that looks like Nigeria. It actually looks like Oshodi Bridge. You know, I've been to Oshodi Bridge many a time. What's she doing in Nigeria? And then next thing I heard her say, I'm in Nigeria, the home, the decentral, whatever they call it, home of the... I'm thinking, my God, what? I know some people are out there, and a lot of people even said to me, even on Facebook, and they were like, do you know what? This is not about where he comes from. An innocent human being has been killed. You know, let's think about the innocent human being. But it's like, hold on a sec. You know, I saw that on TV on Saturday, on Friday night. On Saturday morning, I woke up and I drove past Woolwich, and I drove past the spot where the guy was killed. And all I saw was a sea of flowers, a sea of people, a sea of policemen. And it did come to my mind, and I did think, you know, should I get down and, like, you know, offer my respects? And I looked around and I only saw about 5 or 6 black people, and I thought, maybe not. Not, you know, not that I felt threatened or anything, but basically I didn't feel comfortable doing it. You know what I mean? And then I just think, it's not just about, and then we were driving back, and we drove past the British Defence League.
Yes.
There were 3 different groups of them. There was one, and there were police surrounding them. And I'm sorry to say this on TV, but I was driving an open roof car. Yeah. But as I drove past them, I actually felt scared. I thought they were going to throw something at me. And I drove further down, and there was another big crowd of them. and drove further down, and I didn't know how many crowds of them I met.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, I don't know, but it looks like that they are focusing their anger at the Muslim, at the Muslim
Community.
group. That's at the Muslim community. That's where they seem to be focusing their anger. But at the end of the day, there is an impact on being Nigerian for our kids when they go to school. You know, anything comes up and you're Nigerian, that can bring people back. I mean, what do you guys think?
Well,
Yemi, do you?
yes, I think from a personal perspective, it would be very wrong for us to start labeling ourselves or labeling people because of what someone else have done.
Well, no, we're not doing that.
No,
but we're
I'm
saying
talking
that,
generally
yeah.
for people to start to do that, because if you say, oh, it's black or it's a Nigerian or it's a Muslim, we are playing into the hands of these people. This is what they really wanted. This is somebody who made a statement that overthrow your government. You think your government will fight for you? It is you will die. So they are already creating chaos and creating division. So, and we shouldn't play into their hand. Whatever we do, we should be very careful, weighing whatever we say and how we react. Personally, I think.
Do you know what, Yemi? Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you a bit there. You're saying that, but I'm going to go back to the 7-Eleven bombing.
Oh yes.
Now, I think it is totally unavoidable. Regardless of what you say, people will have their views. And it's just like the 7-Eleven bombing. When that bombing happened, after that time, if I got on a train and a certain person sat beside me and they had a rucksack,
You moved.
if I could move, I
No.
would move. I didn't voice it out.
Yes,
But I don't even mind getting off at the next stop. But
Yeah.
my eyes are on that person, waiting to see, are they going to drop this rucksack or is anything? So it's do you know what I mean though? But it's like the media is a very strong entity.
Weapon, yeah,
And it
yeah.
is a very strong weapon.
Mm.
So it's like, how do we overcome this stigmatization that could be attached?
Yes, one of the reasons. I'm sorry, I know you
Go
want
on.
to make a
Go
point.
on.
One of the fallout of what has happened is fear. These people have managed to create fear, and that they have managed to create terror
Yeah.
amongst us.
Yeah.
I was on the train myself, and I have to take a second look and see if somebody was going to knock me because I'm a black person. Today I drove past the spot where this man was killed, and I didn't feel comfortable because I felt, oh, I am black and the only one different amongst them. So these are the kind of things that these terrorists have created amongst us. But we shouldn't fall prey to that. Like all the those who have spoken, those in authority, that we should carry on our life as normal. The Queen in herself visited Woolwich today.
Did she go to Woolwich today?
She
Oh, okay.
visited Woolwich
Wow,
today.
I didn't know that.
Yes, which was in the plan for the palace to visit Woolwich for what they have done in the past, especially during the Margaret Thatcher's burial, to thank them and to show support for the for the military. So we have to carry on our lives and try every effort to be friendly, even go the extra mile, regardless of what these people have done. Because what will happen is, if we are not careful, just like the EDF are already doing, some other groups will start to spring up. Even the more fanatics in the Muslim community, the Islamists, they will also group, and there will be
They will work on that.
Yes.
Yeah, take opportunity on that situation.
Yes, so that is my own point would be for us to start to look at how are we going to build back our community, how are we going to bring peace and concord back to so that we don't fall prey to what the terrorists really wanted us to
No,
do.
thank you so much for that, Yemi. You know what? I want to pick on something that you just said, Edith, because you said something along the lines that I have been thinking ever since the first day it happened. You said, now this was a random guy, a random soldier.
Yes.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
And I thought, hold on a sec, they were driving towards the barracks.
Yes.
How did they know he was a soldier? Because what he wore was a t-shirt.
Yes.
Is it only soldiers that wear that t-shirt?
No.
So how was they to know that it was
They
actually a
saw him come
soldier?
out.
It's, anybody could be coming out of a
Yes.
barracks.
Well,
So
the story says that they asked him.
they spoke to him.
Yes, they spoke to him and asked him you are an army, isn't it? And he said yes.
Signed
So
his
that
life for him.
confirmed it. After they have hit him with the car, they spoke with him before he died, before they hacked him down. So that.
But I think also, like Edith said, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yes,
it could have
he
been
was.
any
It
soldier
could have been
in that
anybody.
barrack,
Yeah.
and it sounds like it could have been anybody walking out of the
Yeah,
barracks.
it could have been black, it could have been white, it could have been half caste, it could have been whatever, as long as
Mixed
it was
race.
you know,
Politically correct.
whatever. If it makes people
No,
feel
not
better,
whatever.
my apologies.
Not whatever, mixed race.
Yes. What I
But anyway,
Yes.
you know, because to be very honest, I don't understand why the media is not trying to turn it into a race issue. Because when white people kill black people, the black community does not jump up and say that it's a racial matter.
That's so true.
So
That is
I
so
just find
true.
it particularly offensive. You know, the white media, British people, will claim a black person if they can jump hurdles, if they can run fast, if they score goals for you.
And if they can
Suddenly,
sing a good
he's
song.
British. It doesn't matter that the person is as black as charcoal, originating from Africa. He is British, is one
But
of
Edith,
ours.
you say that, but even in Africa, don't forget, they always say the good child belongs to the father and the naughty child belongs to the mother, because the father will disown the naughty child
Yes.
and say, you know what, you're your mother's child today.
Yes,
But if
Mhm.
it is the mother,
Mhm.
if it is a child, if the child is being good, the father will say, oh, you are my child. You
Yes.
are my cup. So
Yeah.
isn't it a bit of that though?
Not really, because
Not
I mean,
think so.
Britain, you know, historically has only been viewed by colonial countries as mother, queen mother, the mother country. So why is the mother rejecting one of its own when one of its own has misbehaved? But if one of its own was Caucasian, you know, the standard brown-eyed, blue-eyed, blue-haired, whatever person, they would have gone like, oh, he's just insane. Let's lock him up. Let's sort out their problem. But
Yeah,
because this one's
exactly.
actually black and they happen to be Muslim, and I take particular offense because I come from a family that has a diverse religion in it. We
Yeah.
have Buddhists, we have Muslims, we have Christians, and we have staunch Catholics
Yeah.
in it. And we all get on well. If not so, there wouldn't be intermarriages in it. You
Yeah.
know, every religion has its fanatics. I can talk about Jews, and I can tell you that traditional Jewish people think that Jews for Jesus are fanatic.
Yeah, that is very
see
true.
what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you
Muslims
there.
also have their fanatics. Christians also have their fanatical
Everybody, yeah.
branches.
Mhm.
Everybody has it.
Yeah.
I mean, why is it that white people always expect to be forgiven for the sins that they've committed against other races, other religions that did not see their point of view or believe in their gods? But the moment one black person trespasses the boundaries of what is acceptable in white society, it becomes like an African problem. It's like the them and us thing. But his passport says he's British. That's what his passport says. And this guy, as far as he's concerned, he's never gone to Nigeria to go and eat pounded yam, let alone beat it, to know what goes on there. So
I like
he's
that.
a British person.
Yeah.
So why would the media not try and aggravate a situation that outraged people
Already.
throughout races, religions, you know, even humanity? Just the sake of humanity, would you decapitate a human being? No, it's a sign of madness.
Well, this is one thing that hits me, and you know, I've turned around and I've said to people, I'm sorry, but I always have to step back and look at this, and to me, this is a murder from someone who was deranged. Now, it seems I've spoken to some people who are close members of the family. This boy, Michael, the first Michael, because they're both Michael, aren't they, actually has a drug problem and has had a drug problem for years. Now, we know that within our society, there are so many people that have drug problems and they operate still.
Yeah.
They go to work, they do their daily chores or do their daily business as they should. But with a lot of them, one day they flip.
Yes, they do.
And the day they flip, you
That's
don't know
true.
what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Yeah, they went to. He was giving out leaflets because there was also this thing I think about him going to Kenya
Mm.
and being arrested in Kenya. But then I remember I read it up. Before I came, and apparently when he went to Kenya, the Kenyan government has written to the British government and told the British government that he committed no crime when he was in Kenya, which was why they released him.
Mm.
So that can't even come into it. Although I know they did say something about him being on his way to Somalia. But at the end of the day, to me, the way I look at it, someone out there tell me if I'm wrong, this was a vulnerable young man. Now, when I say vulnerable, I mean a young man who had lost his way.
Yeah.
Now, the feedback that I have got from a lot of people is that his parents done the best job they could.
Yes.
And to me, his parents done, whether they were separated or not,
Yes, it's irrelevant.
is totally irrelevant.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't matter whether you come from a single home or if you come from a 2.4 home, it doesn't mean that life is going to work well for you.
Yes. Yeah.
You understand?
Mhm.
It depends on who you meet somewhere along the way.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they tried their best.
Yeah.
As of the time that he committed this crime, he's an adult.
Yes,
He's not
yes.
a child.
It's no
So to
longer
me,
child, yes.
that is why for me it becomes, it's not about how do we
Parents'
bring up our
background.
kids.
Yes, it's
Because they brought
nothing
him
to
up
do.
in a Christian way, not in a Muslim
Yes,
way.
yeah. Well, he made his choices.
He
didn't
made his choices
Because-
as an adult.
Yes, because I mean, those are the difficulties of sometimes having given birth to a child and then trying to bring them into your religion. Because when they grow up and they have their own minds, they can choose something
Depending
else for
on
themselves.
who they meet along the way, who influences
yeah, so
them.
because there comes a point where parents stop influencing the child and the community and friends start
Especially
influencing
in a
the child.
country like the UK.
And yes, and this is a country that promotes blatant disrespect to one's parents. Anyway, let's be very honest.
Well,
You know what I mean? Because the day they brought in those spanking laws, you know, they should have seen the Nigerian embassy. People were queuing.
For what? To send their
No,
kids to
no,
Send
Nigeria?
my
no,
kids
no,
back
no,
to
no,
Nigeria,
no,
they're
no.
coming back here when they're 21.
Mhm.
End of.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I'm
People
one-
were
I'm-
queuing.
I'm one of them.
A lot of African embassies, people were queuing like, no, my child is not going to be brought up here because this country is too liberal. Let's be honest, it's way too liberal. It wasn't that long ago, it was 40, 50 years ago. People used to get a smack from the teacher in the hand if you don't do your homework. And it didn't instill fear in the child with regard to the teacher. It just instilled and reinforced respect.
Yeah.
Now we have courts that don't know anything about people's backgrounds but want to tell families how to bring up their children according to their opinion of their ideals. But the last time I looked at a court and the last time I studied the law, because I've worked with some of the top law firms in this country, I wasn't aware that judges were entitled to opinion. The law is about justice. That's what it is about. So when judges put their noses in people's family matters, they should actually investigate the background to establish that they've got the facts before they can make opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think that one was going to be for another day.
Yes,
Sounds
but-
like me.
no,
It
but
sounds
with
like me
regards-
and you.
Yeah.
Me and you have another. It
Yes.
You
sounds
know,
like me
but
and you
with-
have another date coming up, girl.
Yeah, because
On the
with
judges.
regards to this boy and the way they're trying to turn the matter, it was just a murder. People of different creeds and backgrounds. Okay? One murdered the other in the most appalling way possible that nobody can begin to imagine if you are sane. But obviously, this guy, Michael and whoever, are borderline psychotic.
That's what
You
I-
don't
that's what
actually
I said.
need to be a shrink, a professional shrink,
Yeah, to
know
work
it.
that
Because
out.
even looking at their faces, you know,
Right.
when they got
When they done the
got
killing.
filmed, their eyes were not that of somebody who was sensible and sane. These were the eyes of somebody who's crazed. It's like if you're in the same house, you need to climb out the window, you know, and run
Yeah.
to safety.
Definitely.
That's really
Yeah.
the way they appeared to be very honest with you. To come and talk about your political affiliations, okay, can you, grown-ups can have disagreements and they agree to disagree. It's a different point of view.
Yeah.
I can't stand Cameron, and I'm not
Because-
ashamed to say it.
Mm.
I think he's a prat.
Oh,
I think Nick Clegg is also a prat. You know, to me, I rather, my personal political opinion was that I rather Brown had stuck around because he already knew what was ticking off the community as a
Yeah.
whole. So I rather he had stuck around and taken it
Yeah.
than to actually give places to Cameron and this other fool Clegg. Because
ooh,
now,
Idris,
no,
calm down,
seriously,
calm down, Idris, calm down.
no,
Ooh,
seriously, I'm entitled.
It's
This
getting-
country
it's getting
said I've
hot
got
in here.
the freedom of expression, so let me express it. Again, this is not an act of treason.
No.
This is my personal political opinion.
Yeah, I appreciate.
So-
I appreciate.
so
I appreciate
basically,
that, but
what-
I have some comments to make.
Yeah, you
in
do.
taking responsibility.
Yeah, but yes, exactly. But
Yes.
that guy should
Yeah.
take responsibility for
Which
his
guy?
actions.
Yes.
Michael and
Do
Michael
you know
and
what?
I was
whoever.
just going.
Can I just say something?
Yeah.
No, Yemi, I'll tell you what. Part of what parts in this, I refuse. I totally refuse to agree with everything you are saying, so they don't add it to it. No, part of what you are saying, I agree, because you know what my stand here on this thing? Because one question I remember I was asking people on my Facebook is, who takes responsibility for this whole situation? Hold on, Yemi. Now for me, is it the British government? Is it the Islam religion? Is it the Nigerian community? Is it whoever? Now, for me, who takes responsibility? In my books, the British government takes responsibility. Why do I say that? I say that because if they hadn't, in the first place, gone to invade all these countries,
Yes.
if they had not gone to poke their nose
Where it
in the
doesn't belong.
business of all these countries because they said some head of state was embezzling all the money and abusing and killing all their people, would we be where we are today? The same thing happened with Ireland. When they poked their nose into Ireland,
Yeah.
Ireland bombed them. They should have learnt their lesson from that. Now, they've done all that in Iraq, Afghanistan, and is it Liberia? Where is
Yes,
it?
they did.
Liberia.
Yeah.
Guess what? Like we haven't got enough problems in this country as it is, they go in Syria.
Yeah.
Hello? We
Yeah.
need to sort out. And at the end of the day, what pains me the most is they do these things. It is the ordinary people and people like. That's where those two Michaels, to me, actually become victims of the
Yes.
society
Yes.
because of the government.
Yeah.
But no, Yemi, that was me just having my rant.
Okay.
What did you
Yes.
want to say? Sorry.
Wait,
He just got me all stirred up there, and I was like ready to go.
It's a free society, and everyone is entitled. Everyone is entitled to their opinion. But I am not going to be political. I'm not going
I'm
to be
hot,
making
sorry.
some political
Edith, you
statements.
got me hot. Sorry,
Yes,
sorry.
but
Go.
what I was looking in taking responsibility is that the two Michaels, they are responsible enough to take responsibility
Exactly,
for
they're adults.
for their actions.
Yeah.
This is not something that it should be taken lightly. I will not put the blame on the.
Yeah, go on.
I will not
go
put the
on.
blame on the family because the family have not asked them to go and do what they have done.
Thank you.
I will not put the blame on the black people because the black people have not asked them, or Nigerians have not asked them to go and do what they have done.
Thank you.
And from what we have gathered from the news, this was a chap that was met in Kenya, that was intercepted in Kenya on his way to Somalia, and the red signal should be flying from that point. But they still let him loose. They let a wild dog loose in the community.
Yeah, but Yemi, you're forgetting something. They let a wild dog loose in the community, but they wanted to recruit this wild dog.
Well, I was going to come.
spy
Yes,
for
I was
them.
going to come to that. Well, that is they must have their reasons. But when they couldn't recruit him, why did they not monitor him? Why did they not? He was known to be radical. Why have they not arrested him up to this point when he committed this murder?
And that is why I say the British government need to take responsibility.
Yeah.
And the aftermath of this whole thing should be, let's go back to peaceful living. It is unfortunate it has happened. It is so unfortunate that it is so sad because none of us would want that to be our brother, our father, our son. But it's unfortunate. I'm thinking there are so many murders going on within this country as this happens. You had the killing of that 5-year-old girl, which is even
Yes.
worse
April.
than this one that happened. But this one, I guess, because there was, they mentioned the name Islam, and then, bless him, Cameron was in France and quickly flew back to London, because there was a terrorist crisis going on. It just heightened everything, and then, I don't know, it just...
But it's also disturbing the fact that somebody
Yeah.
would blatantly commit a murder in broad daylight and then actually calmly stand there and demand to be recorded.
And what does that say to you?
It tells you insane.
Exactly.
It's just simple and
Insanity,
short.
full
It's
stop.
just insane. Because I mean, most normal killers,
Would
you
run.
kill somebody and then you leg it, and then you pray that you're never discovered.
No. Or even if you ask me, if they were real,
Fundamentalists?
Is it fundamentalists? That
Yes.
if they were real fundamentalists,
Yes.
they would run to kill another day. They
Exactly.
wouldn't hang around.
Tell me about
They
it.
don't
So
want to hang around because
No.
at the end of the day, they need to kill more. Because
Yes.
apparently, the way the jihad thing goes is the more they kill.
Yes, the better they are called.
Exactly. So that should have told them that these are not
They're not
normal people.
fundamentalists,
And for
yeah.
a human being to stand there with blood on his hands,
Yeah.
justifying
Well,
what he has done, come off it, you should know he's not normal.
Yeah. Tell me
Well,
about it.
somebody was asking me on my Facebook, is this the end to the insanity that is happening?
Are you having a laugh?
Well, my mind is telling me that this is not the end to
This
it.
is only the beginning.
Yes, and I think it will do good for all the government to have international network operating. Because
Yes.
before the London Marathon, there was Boston Marathon.
Mhm.
There
And there was the bombing.
There was the
Okay.
bombing.
Yeah.
Then there was
two school killings.
yes, there
in
was
America?
yes, and then now we had this.
Yeah.
And just immediately after the one in the UK happened, there was one in France where where another
The Muslim
soldier was
fundamentalist actually,
about to be killed, but he was stabbed.
Yes.
So we can see how this network is, and one of the Michael said this is not the end to it. That there's going to be there was going to be fire and blood loose on the street of UK or globally. So we can.
Yeah, you know you said that, but you know what somebody said to me on Facebook that I found really interesting? They said to me, I know this this awful killing happened in Woolwich, but do you remember some years ago, one of the soldiers in Afghanistan went on a rampage and killed 28 people?
Yeah.
What about that? That didn't gather as much media as this one did.
Well, because it's not in the UK or in the,
But
in
it
the
was
US
a British soldier
France.
in a British camp,
Yes.
army camp.
Yes.
So it should have, because indirectly it happened on British soil.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's just, I think the media have managed to
Well, the point.
turn it into a right circus.
Yeah, and then another
and put
point.
the blame.
Another angle to look at it is the one that happened in Afghanistan. We know Afghanistan is war-torn country.
It doesn't
So
matter.
they are at war in Afghanistan.
Yeah, but
But
they're still human
it's
beings.
still-
Yeah, they were still
No,
human
but
beings.
they were
so
there.
they have a good reason.
Yeah, man.
on that side.
No, they didn't.
I
Because
disagree with-
I looked at the newspaper
can't justify
today.
it. He
no,
was
you
a
can't
soldier.
justify it. He was a soldier. He was
He
there
was
to
there to
protect
keep the peace and protect the people. He
protect
wasn't
those
there
people. So he
to go
wasn't
and
there
kill
to
them.
shoot them.
Yes, but
His opinion was not
yes,
necessary.
but these people we are dealing with, they are not conversant with the law of combatants. They are not
Sorry.
operating.
No,
Sorry,
because
guys,
these
it
people go
sorry,
there
hold on. It
as-
seems like we have
Yeah.
a call coming in. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, sorry, this is Susie. Who am I speaking to, please?
Oh, my name is Yemi.
Hi, Femi. Have you been listening to the show, and what would you like to
yes,
contribute, please?
Quite interesting as well. It's a lot of information being given out. Things people are not really aware, like myself as well.
Okay.
But I just wanted to say one or two things.
Yeah.
We know for a fact that the act that was carried out was not something anybody should be proud of, or to look at it in an advantageous way, either from the government, from the media, or for the people operating in general.
Yeah.
The thing is, we need to understand one thing before we start branching out, talking about international terrorism. Everything has what has happened, everything has pointed out that this act was only being carried out by two guys
Yeah.
who had their own opinion on certain matters.
Yeah.
And whether these guys have been monitored or not monitored, nobody can actually tell when someone is going to lose it. Can
True.
you? Just like you know that this is a country whereby you have your you're supposed to have your freedom as well. You cannot get arrested without you committing a crime.
Mm.
Really.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at it from all these perspectives, I think what we should, as a society, be thinking about is how do we live our lives to the maximum and to have a cleaner, healthy society without this kind of thing happening again.
Mm-hmm.
This is a metropolitan country whereby it's not about black and white.
Mm-hmm.
We have Chinese people here, we have all sorts of people from different parts of race.
Yeah.
So I don't want to go into politics because it has nothing to do with politics. I think we must just think about what these guys have done as an individual. How do we teach, or what will the society take away from this? Not as an international terrorism. If it is, how do we cope with it individually in our homes, as a community? How do we really integrate with each other? That's all. That's the only thing I really wanted to talk about.
Thank you so much for that, Femi. That was really informative. Thank you so much for that. Good night.
Yes.
That was really that was
Femi has
that was
made
nice
some.
of Femi. Yeah.
He has made some valid comments, which I think we really need to consider, and that is how can we make it better? How can we start to improve things? That is something that we should take ahead.
Improve things in what way?
Yeah. How do we move away from this negative situation that we are in now?
Is it a negative situation?
Is it? Yeah.
Is
You know
it
what? I
really a
don't.
negative situation? Because I mean, I don't see it as a negative situation. I'm
So,
sorry.
Edith, what do you see it as?
I see it as an unfortunate event which actually humiliated African people all over the world. Because black people are completely different from white people when crimes are committed by one of our own. We just feel it collectively as a race. You see what I mean? Whilst with white people, it's just like, it's just a piece of rubbish, it's just disturbing the world and let's get rid of him. But black people, because the way we were brought up and our parents have expectations on us, so even when we witness one of our own commit a crime, we feel a particular pain
I think
that
I get,
we can't even...
when you say that, are you saying that thing about it is not one person that brings up
It's
the
a
child, it takes a
collective
whole village
community, yes,
to bring
because
up
it's
a
a
child,
collective.
so,
So we
yeah.
feel the cringe. We feel the cringe. You know what I mean? No black person's gonna lie to me. Come on now. How many times have you been like shopping on Oxford Street at Christmas time? And you know Christmas is the time when guaranteed at least one person out there is desperate.
Desperate to do what?
Desperate, financially desperate.
Yeah.
So they need to have those Christmas presents the same as those of us who manage to have a little job or have a little bit of money on the trust fund to be able to shop stupidly. Yeah? And then when you see that black person in the department store be chased by the security guards and then they flatten him on the you feel it, you just cringing. You know you paid for everything in your bag. But because the brother or the sister did it, you're cringing and you're thinking, no. How could you? And then when you see it's like an insignificant £30 perfume, it's like, please, you should have even begged me for the money, I would have paid for it. But don't disgrace. Would you
have paid?
I
for
would
it?
have, because I have paid for people's, bus fares and everything else, because I hate it when I see one of my own sitting there cringing that he doesn't have the £2.70 for the bag. I'm thinking, oh God, no!
Okay, Edith. Oh, bless you, Edith. No, but you know what? But let's bring it back. Let's bring it back to the aftermath and how can we move on from this sad and horrific situation.
Okay.
But you know what I'm going to say?
What's that?
I'm going to say one of the things that I feel that until it goes out of the news, it is hard to move away from it. And for now, you've had one of them in court. You still have another one to go. And why that court case is going, because don't forget, when we say, how can we move away from it? It doesn't only involve us. It involves the whole society. And we don't control the whole society's thinking.
Yeah.
And it's the role of the media to pull people away from it by putting other stuff in the news. But while that is still in the forefront, you tell me, is it not still in our faces? How do we move away from
to
that?
tell you the truth, I haven't been particularly affected by the whole thing. I remember reading in the newspaper. I mean, the night it happened, I remember my nephew coming back from that area and telling us that there was a problem, there's a big issue, there was a killing that taken place, but we didn't really know what had gone on. And then the next morning you wake up, you see this horror, this atrocity in the newspapers, and you're reading all the details, and you're seeing, people's personal iPhone films coming out, from the news, and blah, 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 a head being held. And I was not particularly affected by it, because I just think, look, Michael and Michael need to be responsible for the decisions they make and their actions, okay? That's Michael and Michael's problems, regardless of what race, creed, or political belief they have. That's their problem. They need to deal with it. The British government, we have laws in this country for a reason. Okay? They breached the laws. They breached the parameters of humanity. Okay? So they need to be punished accordingly. It has nothing to do with race. Okay? So thank God we have Lee Rigby's parents who are sensibilizing the public by telling them, hey, this is not about race. It's just that my son, unfortunately, I've lost him today, and I'm in the greatest pain you can ever imagine. But my sensible mind is telling you people, the public, do not make my pain worse than it is by trying to turn it into something that it is not. My son happened to be on that road at the wrong time, and he met the wrong people.
Exactly.
That's it.
And that is the truth of the matter, isn't
That
it?
is the truth of the matter. I am not affected by it. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, let me tell you something, Stupid knows who to play with. There are some black people who have never experienced racial discrimination because their faces let you know that if you call me a nigger, I will make you black and blue today. You know what I mean? And then there's some black people you can mess with. That's it. That's it. That's all there is to it. You ask a psychiatrist or a psychologist, they will tell you that some people, like rapists, they know who to pick as a victim, and they know who not to pick because there's something about the vibe of that person that lets them know that, you know what, this is going to be a hard person to rape and a hard person to kill. You know what I mean? So if you don't want the headache, find the easier prey. And that's what normally bullies do. That's what psychotic people do. They go for the easier prey. Because, I mean, to run somebody down with your car, already even seeing the tibia being broken on the road, if you were human and humane, you would have thought, oh my God,
what have I done?
Yeah, what a horror. You see what I mean? But no, they carried on, brought out the butcher's knives and everything else and decapitated him right there and there in front of people. But he's not meat, he's a human being.
I think if I need to come with moving ahead, like you were saying, like the question you asked, there are a couple of things that we need to be addressing as a country and as a community. As a country, the economy is very bad. If you go to Woolwich, where this crime was committed, you will find young men sitting down idle.
But I remember saying that. I remember saying that to you last week.
Even still,
I found it I find it very intimidating going down to a place like Woolwich. But do you know? I don't mean to cut you off, Yemi. But let's be realistic. That this thing is not going to get young men jobs. This thing is not going to make them go out and say, let's create more jobs for young people. Let's be realistic about let's be realistic. Remember, if we're talking about the aftermath, one thing I want us to stick to is the reality of it. Because the government is not going to say, okay, you know what, let's go to Woolwich and create some more jobs for these young people.
Why shouldn't they do that?
But they're not going to.
There are
opportunities in Woolwich.
But they're not going to do it.
But they're not going to do it.
But
it's
whatever
not in their interest, is it?
Whatever plan they have in place is what is in place and what they are following. Don't forget, they are looking at this as a religious thing. They're not looking at it as a young people's thing. Because one thing you're forgetting, they are not young people.
Yeah.
Michael, the first one, was 27 years old. He's a grown man. So he doesn't fall in the group of young people out of work.
Well, I partially agree with you. The Bible that I read says to me that the devil find work for idle
Yeah,
hands.
I agree with you.
If there is no job, we can engage these young men in community service.
But who's going to do that? Can I ask
Well,
you? Please?
Who has the time?
The government can create
But
agencies.
who has the
that
time? The government is
There is
actually
so-
busy making us pay for a recession that's not even our problem, is that of the
Let's not go,
bankers.
babe.
You
Edith,
know,
let's not go to this.
Yeah,
Edith,
no,
let's not
no.
go. That's for another show.
No,
Edith,
yes, I know.
no recession.
Sorry, but also they're making us pay for other things that are not our responsibility, and they're busy trying to get us, or most of the people who've been made redundant due to the unfortunate economy, yeah, to go self-employed so they don't have to give them any money. So why would the government want to invest in a community scheme?
in Woolwich.
Especially in an area like Woolwich, which is like politically correct regeneration area.
Yeah.
If you ask my mind, I'll tell you it's just a ghetto.
No,
But
but,
that's
but it's in the interest of government and interest of the community to invest
Yeah.
in that community so that people will
But
be,
they don't see
so that
any
people will be
profit in
engaged.
it. But they don't see any profit
Well,
in it. They don't see any benefit in it. Because I mean, the thing is, I mean, one thing I notice about Europe, I'm sorry to say, is that every time people come here to better their lives. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's admit it. This country was built on the blood and sweat of immigrants who came here and
To better their
suffered
lives,
to
yeah?
better their lives and bettered it for the white people who think it's their right to their British passport. We suffered for our British passport. That's the difference between a black person's British passport and a white person's British passport. Theirs is an accident of birth. Black people, Africans, should remember that actually ours, somebody suffered to get us that British passport.
But wait,
we
Edith.
had to fight for that right. No. So I'm sorry, when people always go, the government should be responsible, should set up schemes, should set up this.
They're not
Let me
gonna
tell
do
you
it.
something. No, they're not going to do
They're
it
not
because
gonna do it.
poverty
Yeah.
is a state of mind.
They need people
If
to
you
be in
believe you will die poor, you will die poor. If you believe you cannot get out of the ghetto and be better than you are, you will die that way. It's just simple and short. So just because your parents live in the ghetto or in the council flat or whatever, and you dream of a mansion, then you know what? You work for it. You fight for
Edith,
it. That's what you
Edith,
do. So
Edith,
stop putting things on the government, community this and community that. I don't pay my tax money in this country, yeah, for the government to always be setting up community programs for other people. I'm sorry.
Oh, Edith, wait, hold on. What, Edith?
No. I draw the line. Because how much of that money is going in there? I'm sorry. You okay? I want to see an ambitious black person. Okay? It's just simple and short. I want to see an ambitious black
Right,
person
Edith,
who believes they can
Strike,
get out
Edith,
of control.
calm down now. Calm down. Time
Yes.
to calm down. Strike one. Time to calm down.
Well, we cannot.
Time, wait, hold on, Gabby. Time to calm down.
Are you
Have a
calm?
drink, have a drink. But listen, we have, I think, 2 or 3 minutes left for the show. Passion has taken
Any
over.
phone calls,
Oh my
welcome
God.
them.
If I say I have not enjoyed myself this evening, I'm lying. Right.
No, but I
Right.
take exception.
No,
in Africa, we don't have community
No, Edith,
centers.
I know, let's not
Come
start
on
again.
now.
I know, and it still goes on fine, I know. But, so how do we conclude this? I'm not going to ask you, because I know if I ask you, we're going to go, Yemi, how do we conclude this? Because if I ask Edith now, it's going to go a different way. Yemi, how do we conclude this?
Well,
what?
Well, I feel very sorry, and I feel very, very, very sorry for the life that has been cut down. We cannot take anything away from Lee Rigby.
Yeah.
This was a serving gentleman who served his country loyally.
We don't know about it.
And then on the street of his own country, he was cut down. I feel very, very sorry for the family and what they are going through right now. In conclusion, from my side, I think we all must learn. We have lessons to learn in all of this. For me personally, I think for for us to start to think how to better ourselves. Zogi have said, we shouldn't depend on government. I have never depended on government to
I
help
have
me.
before, but
Yes, no, but by circumstance, if
Yeah,
you
by
need it,
circumstance,
if you
I'm
need
saying,
it, that is what the social
Yeah. That's
whatever
what
it's
tax is
there
for,
for.
yeah.
But it's not for you to
Exactly.
sit on it. It's for it to prompt you back onto your feet.
Yeah.
So I think that government needs to do more in that area. We cannot individually do it. We have people who have box of money. Yes, if they can set up trust that will enable. There are lots of black people. There are a lot of young people out of job,
Yeah.
and this is causing a lot
So?
of
Yeah, but
It
So,
should,
yeah,
it shouldn't be.
let's
in
not at the
Africa,
end-
in
wait.
Africa, on the unemployed, people who
That's-
stay in the villages
But
and
we
they're
are-
unemployed.
we are-
But are they decapitating people on Abuja Bridge or something like that? Are they doing it? No,
Right.
they're not.
Guys,
So
you
this
know
is
what?
a disease of Europe. I'm sorry.
Yes,
This
but
is a
if we
disease
are-
of Europe. It's
but
not a
if-
disease
if
of any
we-
other country.
Guys.
You look in poor countries, okay? They are the happiest. The poorest people in the villages,
I'm gonna
Pakistan and everything. are
Wait,
the happiest
Edith,
people.
hold on.
Go ahead.
I can feel. You know what, guys? I can feel Edith's passion. And do you know what? But do you know what? We've come to the end of the show, but I have actually enjoyed this show. In short, I'm going to say that this has been one of my best shows, and this is my 15th show. And I'll tell you, I've really got into it, and I've really enjoyed it. And do you know what? I've listened to what both of you have said, but I don't agree with everything you said.
Yes,
You get me?
yes.
I don't agree. That's me taking myself out of it. I don't agree with everything you said, but I hear what you're saying. I
I do
understand
hear
what you're
myself.
saying. And with this, I say, I think it's quite honest. With the aftermath, we don't know what is going to happen. Let's sit down and watch, and let's pray for the best. And with that, I'm going to say to my two most wonderful guests this evening, bless you guys. I love you to bits. Edith,
Thank you.
thank you so much, honey.
Thank you for
But you know
having me.
what? But Edith, I want to say to people, it is alcohol free.
Yes,
Before
it
they
is.
think that we were getting excited because there was alcohol in it, it's alcohol
No,
free.
I'm a naturally
It's
passionate person.
Babes, you are coming back next week, regardless.
Okay.
Yummy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
It's a pleasure.
And I hope our viewers
Thank you.
out there, I hope you guys enjoyed it. So that is a big thank you to my guests, a big thank you to the viewers, and our dear friend that phoned in, bless you, Femi. Thank you so much. And a big thank you to our production team. Thank you
Yes,
guys,
thank you.
and tune in next week. Bye.
Bye bye.